You may have played poker, but playing poker in Texas is a different animal. This is the Texas Poker Podcast with Tyler and Clint.
Hello, this is the Texas Poker Podcast. I'm Tyler, this is Clint.
What's up, y'all?
And we're back again.
We are back again, and lately it's been tough because I haven't been playing as much poker as I was. Just work, family, other stuff gets in the way sometimes. Man, I tell you what, been killing it lately. Been really getting some hours in and playing some fairly interesting sessions for the first time in kind of a while.
Right, isn't it weird how you can play some sessions where literally nothing happens? That's interesting.
Yeah, they talk about this on the vlogs, like when they're talking about doing them, I remember hearing like Jamin or somebody, and really he's like, when I'm recording a session, I'm just hoping something interesting happens. And I used to be like, well, there's always be something, but you're right. I kind of now get it. It's like there are some times that it's just like you get top pair, you bet everybody folds, and that's kind of like every hand for that session.
Well, or it's a hand like you and I say where it's just there's no decision points. They just kind of play themselves. Which is cool if you win, but definitely not great for a podcast or vlog.
Yeah, it's great to go over your wins, but I'd almost rather go over like a hand I lost that's at least interesting than a hand that, just like you say, kind of played itself and then you hit something randomly and won where it was just kind of getting lucky.
Well, luckily for you, I got a mix of both of those for you.
Oh, well, that's kind of interesting. You want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'll kick us off. So I go to Paramount, and I haven't been there in a while, and I buy them pretty short stacked because like the ATMs were down. I didn't have all that much cash on me, kind of thing, and I was like, well, I'll just spin it up from like 100 big blinds.
Okay, which is pretty fine. I mean, I don't consider 100 big blinds really short stacked. So
no, but I mean that's all the money I had on me, kind of thing.
Oh, so it's like 100 big blinds and you're out if you're out.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay, now I kind of get you.
Well, and it's super weird if you lose 70 big blinds because
that's hurt. Yeah, because I mean, now you are very short stacked and there's no way to add on.
Correct. So yeah, because there was something weird going on with the ATMs that night because I went to like 2 or 3 and none were working. So that was kind of less than ideal for me, but not the point. The point is, I basically am card dead for most of the time. And then I end up in this PLO hand where I have queen, 8, 9 double suited. Sorry, single suited. The 8 and the 9 are suited. Sorry, I'm suited to the queen.
Okay.
I'm in the big blind. And there's a under the gun straddle, I believe. Because I remember this pot gets blown up pretty big before it gets to me.
Okay.
So I believe it was either 15 or 20 and it went call back to me. And
okay.
I'm about $150-ish behind.
I think this is kind of just an easy call, right?
I jammed.
I think I would have liked a call here a little bit better. Maybe like a jam if you're double suited, maybe. I think I would have just called here and kind of set mine and played it as from there. But this is fine. I mean, I think it's a little aggressive, but okay, I can kind of see it.
I am a little bit shorter than what I told you originally, because I remember the guy only called like $95 more. So I was pretty short stacked from here. Something bad must have happened.
That makes way more sense.
Because I remember the guy saying that he'll gamble with me and put in $90 more. So I was pretty short stacked here.
Okay, that makes way more sense. Okay, I can definitely get behind a jam if you're pretty short here.
Yeah, because I must have had like 110.
Okay.
Kind of thing. I ended up getting it all in pre-flop with one player, so there's some dead money in there, which I like.
That's nice.
And I end up turning a straight, and he just said, "You win." He just folded the pre-flop raiser. He never showed, but I was pretty happy to win.
They're very nice.
I thought that was kind of an interesting squeeze spot. But then, so here's how my session was going, though, right? So that hand happens. I'm counting my money. I'm like, ooh, I'm up like $30 or like $40, right? Been down all night, and I'm like,
Okay.
this is nice. Oh, so I was, so then I'm in. So now the next hand, I'm also in the big blind, both hands in the big blind here.
Okay.
So I guess it must have been an orbit after. I have King 5 offsuit in the big blind.
Okay.
Normal fold for me. Whole table, or not whole table. How many players limp? I think 4 players limp. I just check.
I think that's standard. I kind of like all this.
I flop top pair, and I'm like, well, that's not that great, but it also limps. So I was like, I can bet a little bit. So I think I bet like $10. Probably like almost one of those ones where like 10 into 10 kind of thing, just because the pot's so small.
Yeah, whenever the pot's small, you can definitely bet a bigger percentage of the pot. I think this is fine. I think you could either check this or bet this. I don't think anybody has to have a king here because, like you say, it's all limped. So you can rule out king, queen, king, jack, ace, king, king, 10. So I think this is fine.
There was 2 spades.
2 spades, okay.
Yep, I'm not holding a spade. I get 2 callers. The turn is an offsuit 5. So I have 2 pair.
Okay, offsuit 5. Well, do you know what the other 2 cards were?
Let's see.
Because I'm wondering if the 5 makes like any straights possible.
No, it did not.
It did not? Okay.
No.
So no. So you now have top, and I'm assuming top and bottom pair.
Correct.
And no straight, no flush possible.
Correct.
So very unlikely anybody would limp a set here. So you basically have the nuts.
Correct.
Okay.
And I get donked into here for kind of a lot. It was like more than maybe like 30% of his stack. He was short stacked. So he donks in. I end up putting him all in. Other guy folds. He calls. And the river is a 7. And he turns over king 7 for a river better 2 pair. So that was a pretty tough hand.
That's a very weird hand. Did the 7 make like an open-ended?
No, he had a flush draw to go with it.
Oh, he had a flush draw to go with it?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes at least a little more sense.
But it was a very big, like the all-in was, like I think he made him donk like 25 and I made it like 150, something like that.
Kind of a weird spot because you have almost the nuts here the way this is played out. But at the same time, it's kind of weird to have this call and this donk lead as well. So
it was a super new player, but I thought that was so weird.
Kind of weird because I would have expected that more on the flop than a donk lead on the turn with that hand. But it sucks that you get it all in as a pretty good favorite just to kind of get killed because he had, 3 plus the flush outs?
The 9, yeah.
12. So, I mean, you got it as a 75% favorite on him. Mm-hmm. Pretty kind of rough.
The very next hand. So now I'm looking, and now I'm kind of back to where I started, and I'm at like $160 ish in my stack now.
Okay.
The very next hand, pocket queens. I'm thinking this is going to look super aggressive, right? Like people are going to think I'm tilted, which I am, and they're not wrong. And
I love using this to my advantage when this happens. I'm right along the same lines as you.
Yeah, so I get raised. Sorry, I don't get raised. Guy bets like 15. I then 3-bet.
What position are you?
Where was I last hand?
You see, you were in the big blind, so you would be in the small blind here?
Yep, we're on it. Yes.
Okay.
So yes, I'm in the small blind. So guy bets, it was either 15, it was kind of a big bet, like 15. It is a 1-2 game, right?
Right.
Folds to me. I then re-raised 75.
I was going to go to 60, but okay.
He then re-jams on top of me all in.
Actually, I think 60 is too much, too.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. It's,
There's no way I made it 75.
Okay, my standard for a raise here would be 4 times when I'm in the blinds. It's 3 times when I'm in position, 4 times in the blinds. Weird thing being, though, is with your stack size at 160.
Yeah, I was thinking I didn't make it 75 because that'd be way too big. I must have made it closer to 50 or 60.
Yeah, so it's like, I think, because, okay, let's say he made it 15. Let's say you make it 50, then the pot is going to be 100, and you make it 50 off of a 160 stack.
Yep.
You have 1 pot size bet. I kind of like that.
That sounds more accurate.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell the hand went with a lack of notes. So,
yeah, no kidding. Whenever it's a hand that goes well for Tyler, just detail after detail after detail. If it's a hand that doesn't go well for Tyler, it is the basest of the base of the base.
Yeah, I can tell you what hand he put the chips in with if I won, but yeah. So he goes all in. I snap call, turn it over. I have queens. He has pocket kings. I get felted in that hand. Back-to-back hands out for 0.
I mean,
so that was sad.
Which I will say, the call is fine here. A lot of people would probably say that you shouldn't be calling a 4-bet here in a 1-2 game because there's not many 4-bets. When I guess in their defense, there are not many 4-bets by players that don't have queens dominated. I mean, be aces, kings, and ace king, I think. I don't think most people are 4-betting jacks. But at a 160 stack, and if you're at 60, and when you 3-bet to 60, I think people do this with ace king enough. I think you're super exploitable if you start folding here.
For sure.
So I definitely don't mind the call here. And you know what? If you get queens over to kings, I mean, at some point you're going to get kings to queens. So
yeah, well, that was a pretty frustrating session though because I didn't really feel like playing. Went and played anyway, just for this here podcast, and that was my session. Card dead, card dead, card dead. Won a PLO flip to lose 2 hands back to back after like going from being down and card dead the whole time to then being up and then felted. I mean, such a roller coaster of emotions, but
that's a rough session. It's a rough session that when you I mean, usually I'm playing just to play. Obviously, there's some times I play just to get the kind of content for the podcast because you need something to go over. But it is always rough when you're like kind of only half-ass feeling it and you get there and you just lose. So that's always a rough session.
And you know what's weird? I was super annoyed at that session. So annoyed after how that session went. And it really goes to show how, like, the stakes kind of don't matter sometimes. Like, even though it was a small portion of the bankroll, it was one $200 buy-in. But I felt like breaking my phone at the end of that one because I was just so frustrated.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that because I am the same way. Like, I'm one of the few players who play fairly expensive tournaments, fairly expensive cash games, but I'll also go play free roll poker, and I still want to win. I mean, there's a certain point where you just want to win.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when you're in a downswing, 100%.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just to me, it's the same thing as anybody who gets frustrated at video games, at losing at chess or anything. I mean, you never just want to lose or anything, even if there was no money involved. So, and I think when there's money involved, it obviously amplifies it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I just thought that was weird. How normally you would think that the money plays because it really is, as weird as it sounds, going from high to low to medium, whatever stakes, how kind of the money doesn't matter emotionally. Like if you win a bunch of money, you know, like you're kind of happy, but you're the same happy as if you would have won at the 1-3 game. At least I am, you know.
Yeah.
Just to like play well is more what I'm happy about. Make the right decisions, play well. You know, same type of thing with this situation. Like, you know, you can lose a crap load of money at 5-10 or whatever, or 1-2. Just, I don't know. It was really weird to, like, obviously it's hard to explain because I just feel like I'm doing a poor job of it. But, you know, but I just thought that was kind of an interesting takeaway on the ride home.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think you did a fine job explaining it. It's just one of those things where even despite like it not being a huge chunk of bankroll or anything, just losing sucks at anything. Forget poker, just anything. If I go and play basketball and I'll lose, I'm not in a good mood. So it's so that's kind of. But hopefully the next session you start killing it. That's the last hand. Well, obviously the last hand from that session. Do you have another session?
No, I retired.
I was like, I'm done with poker. Fuck poker. So not last Friday, the Friday before last, Champions, which is everybody knows that's a place I've been playing a lot, and I've been really happy with how they run their games. I think it's one of the nicer places in Houston, so I have been playing there quite a bit. I like to mix it up, but it's probably the place I play most. Well, that and a lot of these places are going to rake, which I hate, and Champions does it right, along with some other good ones. I mean, Prime, Texas Card House, and everybody else, but let's say I'm not loving the how Houston's going about it, but I'll support the ones who do it right. But they have a meetup game. Phil Helmuth is there. Jeff Platt and Brent Hanks are all there playing. So I was like, well, that'll be a fun... Obviously, I work the weekend, so that'll be a fun way to kick off the weekend. Phil Helmuth is really a lot of fun at these. Phil Helmuth is somebody who's really good at hosting games, and I know people are going to know him as like the poker brat and just give him a lot of shit, and rightfully so. I'm sure he deserves a ton of it, but I will say he's really good at hosting games because he's someone who likes the attention, and he's on the microphone the entire time, just kind of bullshitting and all that. So he is a lot of fun at these games, and Jeff Platt and Brent Hanks also very good. So having a real good time, just a good vibe out there. And it was also only like 3 or 4 tables, so everybody's rotating, and you're seeing everybody a lot too.
That's what's really nice, is that these meetup games, like, it's awesome when there's a big crowd, but then it feels like I don't want to say you don't get the full experience, but whenever there's kind of that sweet spot, I mean, that's whenever you feel like you really actually get to kind of play with everyone multiple times, that's whenever it's really fun.
Oh, yeah. One of my most memorable experiences was going to Jamin's meetup game at Texas Card House, and there were only 2 tables, and I ended up playing with them the entire time, versus, like, some of these, like, Brad Owen and Andrew Nemi, where there's, like, 17 tables and stuff.
Or my first meetup game, when it was Mariano and Johnny Vibes. I mean, I feel like they did a great job of rotating, but at the same point, there were so many tables that you only got to play with each one once. Yeah. Because I remember that place was packed for that.
That was kind of crazy. That was one of the bigger ones I've been to. But I'm there, and I end up with my first big, decent hand. Raised 20 under the gun with pocket aces. There's 1 call and small blind 3 bets to 60. I 4-bet to 150.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Okay. The cold caller folds, as I would expect on most times, and the 3-better calls, as I'd kind of expect. For a while, I wasn't 4-betting aces much, but now that I've got a better sizing, I have been 4-betting aces, kings, ace king, and some other hands. So the flop is queen 8-5 rainbow. So could not be a better flop for aces. I guess I'm a little concerned that queen would be a 3-bet for most people, for a lot of people, but overall I like this flop.
I mean, anytime someone flops a set versus your aces, it's not going to be a sweet situation. So just kind of just hoping that doesn't happen.
I bet 100 into probably about 320. Looking to get any type of call from like maybe ace queen, maybe king queen suited or anything like that, and he folds.
All seems really good though.
I mean, yeah, I think it was pretty standard. I thought this. The only thing I take away from it is I think I did like my sizing for the 4-bet. It was kind of priced in and everything.
Yeah, like we had talked about that probably months ago at this point, is how we used to be 3 or 4 betting just so gigantic, out of control, way too big. to making that adjustment and really help both of our games out?
A ton. So the next one, I raise king queen to 15. I get 3-bet by an older gentleman. Then there's a call. Comes around to me. This is king queen offsuit. I call.
Kind of getting dicey here.
I don't think this was my best hand right here. I will say I usually will call like a lot of like king queen suited, but I usually fold king queen offsuit, especially to an older guy who's
drinking coffee.
Yeah, I mean definitely has the old man coffee look.
He's watching Avatar on his iPad. Yeah,
yeah, all of this checks out. The flop is king jack 8.
I mean, as odd as it sounds, still not awesome.
Still not awesome. I check. I don't remember what position I am. It says check, so I must have been in middle position here. And the pre-flop raiser bets 55. So he bet 3 bets to 15, 45, 90, 135. So he bets under half pot here. I have top pair, decent kicker.
I mean, you're definitely around.
Yeah, I call. The other player folds, and I call. Turn 7, and he bets 130.
I mean, this just sounds like the story of how you slowly paid this guy a bunch of money, but I mean, I'm thinking fold, but I mean,
I fold.
Yeah, okay. I was like, I mean, since it's on the podcast, I'm thinking you called, but I was thinking this would be a good time to fold.
Well, I found it an interesting hand because I think this could easily be justified as a call.
Well, I was thinking we could be justified as a pre-flop fold.
Well, yeah, that's one. I think there's so many things where I could have done better here, but I think I minimized the damage on the fold on the turn.
Yeah, definitely. I think this was going to be the story of how you just slowly paid this guy off, whatever, 30% pot until the river, and then just lost.
I mean, because he has ace king here, he has aces here.
I mean, everything that beats you, yeah.
I mean, hell, he has pocket jacks here. So, even if he got crazy out of line with 9-10, he's got me beat. I mean, and now I will say, like, I kind of also had folded to him because he's kind of like older, looks like old man coffee. Mm-hmm. I also realized this guy has like a tournament, like 2 tournament bracelets later, and is very capable of making bluffs. So, in all honesty, I think I'm glad I didn't know that because I think this is probably still the right fold, but I'm a little more suspicious if I know that beforehand. So let me see. Oh, this is definitely an interesting hand. Raise from under the gun. I'm under the gun +1, and I call with pocket 6s. Folds everywhere else. I thought we were the blinds here. No, okay. Under the gun, I call with pocket 6s. The flop is queen 7. He checks. I bet 20. I think my hand needs protection.
It definitely needs protection,
and is better than a lot of his. Like, I mean, I have ace king beat. I have
all the
jack 10.
Broadway.
Yeah, all the missed broadways that don't have a queen, and all of that. So it's weird that he would have a 7 here. So I bet 20 he calls. I'm a little suspicious when he calls. The turn is a 3. He checks. I check.
I think I might bet the turn for the same reason betting the flop, but I mean that's kind of the dream turn. But
well, it is. But here's the problem: is
there's no draws.
There's no draws. So, like, I mean, like he could have a 7 here. He could have a queen here. I don't really, and I mean, there's no thing. Like, I mean, I'd feel better if there was like even a gut shot to be drawing with. So I check kind of for pot control here. I get the Dream River, a 6. So I'm now thinking, he kind of played this the way he would a queen. I mean, checking, calling, he would still check to me, hoping that I bet the turn and be looking to re-raise. So I think a queen is definitely available. The river, he leads out for 35, making me very much think that he has a queen here. I raise to 135. He calls, I think, well, this is guaranteed a queen here, and flips over pocket sevens for a flop full house that's bigger than mine.
God, I mean, you should be getting stacked here just so often, I think.
This was one of the weirdest hands, because I don't know how I 100% do not know how I did not get stacked here. Because he later is like, well, if I raise, would you call? I'm like, I'm definitely thinking about it. I mean, definitely could be an overplayed queen sometimes. I definitely can't just put someone on pocket sevens every single time.
Just flop to full house? Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, it's a... This was one that got very lucky just to not get completely stacked here. Got very unlucky to hit a river like this, and got very lucky that he played it the way he did.
I mean, here's the thing. If I'm in your spot, I'm like over betting river. I mean, I'm guaranteeing to get myself stacked.
Yeah. It's, so, yeah, it was kind of if anything, I thought I actually raised too small here.
Yeah, I was going to go bigger.
Yeah, even then, because, I mean, is he really folding a queen to anything? So I actually, when I made the raise, I remember thinking it's a mistake. Which is weird. I mean, he said he was a professional poker player, too. He wasn't from here, so. I mean, I guess even professional poker players kind of have, blunders in the game. But, I mean, I tell you what, this was just the biggest of blunders.
Yeah, I mean, you're a professional rad tech. I mean, blunders happen.
True. I mean, yeah. I think I'm pretty good at my job now. You got me second-guessing myself over here.
Yeah, I think 2 weeks ago I missed my alarm and showed up 2.5 hours late. That seemed kind of blunder-esque.
That was blunder-esque. That was. We were busy that day, too. Then, I'm kind of down. This has not been a great session for me, as you can tell. But I mean, I've now gotten 3-bet. I've now gotten 3-bet and had to fold. I've then get boat over boat, get boat under boat. This older guy who 3-bet me king queen, don't have the other hands. I've raised several times. He has 3-bet me every single time. And I've had to fold. It's always been at the bottom of my range. He has only 3-bet me, but I mean every single time. I think it was 4 hands.
Did he say he knows a nit when he sees one?
So I'm a little frustrated at this point because I'm just having to, like I say, it's all decent hands, but also bottom of the range where I can't really call a 3-bet with. Mm-hmm. So
he says loose passive, perfect.
I raise, no kidding. I raise ace king, and he 3-bets. I think he 3-bets to like a fairly normal size of like 60. I make it 150. I finally got a hand I can stand up to him. He can't have the goods every time. He shoves over the top. At this point, I think when I make it 150, I think it's... Once he shoves over the top, I think he has like around 300. I'm now getting 150 to win 450. I don't love it, but...
When you get 1,000,000 to 1, you got to call.
Yeah, I call. He has pocket kings.
It's about right for 1,000,000 to 1.
Yep, but I flop an ace, and I stack him, so...
Stack him or just double up? Did you actually cover him?
No, I stacked him at some point. I don't think that was it, though. I think that I was thinking about something else. But I did take a huge stack out, a huge deal out. I might have stacked him there, but either way, it was a very big hand where I got lucky and needed it. So we're now with Phil Helmuth at our table, who's doing all his antics and everything. And like I say, he's really fun to have at the table when he's just hosting the game and everything. He bet 7 at 1-3.
That sounds fun.
I make it 25 with ace 10 of spades.
You should have said you make it 14.
Yeah, no kidding. Small blind cold calls. Phil folds.
Phil folds.
Yeah. And that's not been a great hand. He only bet 7 and then folded to my 3-bet. So the flop is 10 high with 1 spade. I bet 25. The person who calls my, I guess, 3-bet. It's hard to even say that 25 is a 3-bet. He calls. A turn is a 10. So I now have trips with top kicker with nothing above it. He checks. I bet 60. Not even knowing what I'm trying to get to call me anymore. But I feel like it's one of those I shouldn't just be completely deceptive. Because I also have all the over pairs. I bet 60 he calls. I don't know what the hell is going on. The river's a blank. He checks. I go all in for like 200, and he folds. I honestly don't know what he had. Let me see. That's just two. Let me see if there's any interesting hands here. Turn in. This one was kind of a rough hand. This hand kind of tilted me a little bit. Player min 3-bets 33 to. I raise pocket 3s, and a player min 3-bets. There was more min 3-betting at this table than I've ever seen. Usually a pretty good table to be at, since that's a pretty big gap. I call. There's one other call. I'm getting, at this point, I think I've got a pretty decent stack, so I definitely have odds to draw to set mine here. I'll go check. I bet 50. Okay, the flop, I flop a set. I think it was 3, 4, 5. I bet the pre-flop raiser checks. I bet 50 into about 100. He re-raises to 125. I only call. Do you 4-bet?
I like the call, I think.
Okay. I mean, I don't think he would 3-bet with 6, 7, but also I think an overpair's drawing so thin that I can just let him kind of blast away on the turn. The turn is ace, which I did not love. I definitely thought pocket aces for a 3-bet and a re-raise on the flop. I definitely put him on a pocket pair of like aces, kings, or queens.
Definitely not like it when 33% comes in.
Yeah. He checks to me. I decide just to check back.
This all seems fine.
Yeah, I think it might be a little weak. I think my thoughts at the time were this ace, either he hits a set of aces,
or it kills all action, right?
Exactly. If he has like jacks or something, it's kind of rough. The turn, and I don't think it should be for jacks here, but I think he's kind of a beginner player, it seems like, and I think he would see it as a kind of a tough card. But it goes, he checks, I check behind. This is really, really rough. River's a 2. So now I have a set of 3s. The board is now ace 2, 3, 4, 5 with a straight on the board. He checks. I jam.
Like, you're looking at a man who's panicked.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Like, I got a set and a straight. Got to win.
Yeah. My theory here is I have I would play a ton of 6s this way. And he can almost never have a 6 here. With his 3-bet and the way he's played this hand, he can never have it. I can always have it. I would definitely bet 50 on the flop. I would probably call his turn being open-ended. And I would definitely probably check with that turn. He eventually calls. He had jack, just like what we said he would here. And we chopped this pot. That was... on a session that's kind of been very hit and miss here, was a rough pot to just chop, because that would have really made the
escalated
session.
Things, yeah.
Yeah. This will be the most interesting hand of the session by far. Player raises to 15. Phil Helmuth is still at the table. I call with ace nine of diamonds. There was like 2 calls in front of me. I thought about squeezing. I just decided to call here with ace nine of diamonds. Just everybody in the world calls here. The flop is ace 8-10 with 2 diamonds. So I flop top pair with the nut flush draw. Okay. Checks to me in fairly late position. I'm not loving it because this is not a great kicker for my ace. But I also think it's a little too strong just to check. I bet 50. Only Phil Helmuth calls. So heads up with him. Gets way better when I turn the nut flush.
Yeah.
He checks. I bet super small into this pot. I bet 75 into probably about 170. And my reasoning here is I want to look like I'm trying to get value with an ace that is also a little scared of the flush and trying to pot control.
Yeah, and I'm liking all of this. And it kind of, I think, could bait him into thinking that you might be a little bit weaker than you are, too.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought. Oh, that's exactly what I was trying to put out. Well, I get my dream when he raises to 250.
Dang, it's like I was there.
Yeah.
Okay.
He doesn't have that much behind. I just call.
Are you in position or out of position?
I'm in position.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I call. It's one of those things that when I just call, I'm thinking he might still think he's good here, and I could maybe just have the single ace of diamonds. And if I raise, I don't know what I'm raising with. It's not the nuts, because there's never a bluff. He doesn't have enough behind for it to be a bluff. So, and once I call, I think he only has like 130 behind and do like now a $650, $700 pot. So the river's a blank. He shoves for 220. Oh, okay, he had a little bit more behind, but still tiny compared to the pot.
Yeah, no, working on all sorts of great.
I obviously snap call with the nuts, and he has a 7-5 flush. So I end up stacking him. Ends up being a great hand for me. Actually, absolutely. That ended up where I was kind of already up a little bit. Ended up making a decent session. It wasn't crazy good, but well, shit, I might have been down a little bit. Looking at what I was in for. But I end up with a profit of $365 in a game where I got to play with Brent Hanks, Jeff Platt, who was a lot of fun, Phil Helmuth, and got to stack Phil Helmuth. So it ended up being a really kind of fun night, good game. Nothing crazy for the profit, but I'll take $365 every day of the week. I'm
sure stacking Phil is priceless. So
that was pretty nice, yeah. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Well, on that note. That'll conclude the Texas Poker Podcast. We'll talk to you next week.
That was the Texas Poker Podcast. Go ahead and rack up, add time, and we'll see you next week.